are you today? Good, good, good. Wow, the lights are bright back there, huh? So this is so nice to be here. I'm from New Jersey. I've been in the industry for a very long time, was an originator, did over $2 billion worth of loans as an originator, but also a real estate investor. Wanted to just tell you a little bit about myself so you understand that I can relate to you. I had my own show on CNBC for 13 years, you might have known. It was the Monthly Mortgage Report, but we talked about real estate. In addition to that, I was fortunate enough to win the Crystal Ball Award for being the most accurate real estate forecaster in the United States, according to Zillow and Pulsenomics. And as a matter of fact, I have now there's 150 economists, who's the top economist in the United States. I'm not really an economist by nature, but we understand the market pretty well. And have had 4 finishes in the top 10 out of the 150 economists. So it is something that I'm really, really excited to share with you, to understand what's going on in the market, because it's really important to be able to express and articulate exactly what's going on to the market, in the market with your customers. So guys, you know what I do need though that I don't have is the clicker. So I don't have that, and if you wouldn't mind, just please put my screen up there. So while they're getting that, what I wanted to also mention to you was that there was an amazing study that was done by the University of Michigan. And you probably know this, but the right side of your brain, and we're going to talk a lot about our brain today and how our brain works in sales. So the right side of our brain controls our left motor functions. You guys know that, right? Right side of our brain controls the left motor functions, and left side of our brain controls the right motor functions. So because of that, your nervous system, it's intertwined just like this in your brain. And what they've discovered is the way you do certain things and certain mannerisms can tell a lot about your personality. So whether it's the person sitting next to you right now, if you want to know a little bit more about, or people at your office or people at home, what we'll do is we'll do this little exercise, and it'll take just a second, but I think it's going to be very revealing for you. So let's everybody put your hands out just like this, okay? Good. Put your hands out just like this. And on the count of 3, what we're going to do is we're going to clasp our hands together, and we're going to hold them there, okay? Just put your hands out just like this. Don't be afraid. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Clasp your hands and take a look. Let me just hold them there. Let me just take a look, please. This is an interesting group. Oh, my goodness. Southern California. Okay, so here's what I want you to do. Only if your right thumb is on top of your left thumb, raise your hand. Okay, according to the study, you are a thinker. Highly cerebral, great problem solver. When there's a deal blowing up in the office, they come to you to fix it, okay? So you are a thinker. Congratulations. Now, if your left thumb was over your right thumb, raise your hand. Nice and high for me. Clearly the majority of the room. Okay, so according to the study, it shows that you are sexy. So, I don't make this up. This is what the study showed. If your right thumb was, over for thinker, it's too late, you can't switch, okay? So, but you know what was interesting? When I walked around this room, so many of you didn't have your right thumb for thinker, your left thumb for sexy, you had your thumbs together, and the study showed, well, you folks, you think you're sexy, and that's okay with me. I think that's actually pretty cool. So listen, we're gonna have some fun today. We're gonna talk about how our brain works. And we're also going to talk a little bit about your math skills, because math skills are very important. Some of you are saying, I'm not so great. It's okay. We're going to do some basic stuff today that you're going to need. Like, for example, I'm going to show you here an image. And what I want you to do is, this is going to be a 20-second video. I'm going to ask you one question to check your math skills. And here's the one question. I'm going to give it to you in advance. You see there's teams with black shirts, there's teams with white shirts. They each have a basketball. The team with the white shirt only, I want you to watch carefully, and I want you to count how many times they pass the basketball. However, here's the trick. If they pass it on a bounce, don't count that one. If they pass it on a fly, count that one. Are you ready? I was hoping for like a little bit more participation there. All right, good. All right, well, hold on. Could you? Okay, let it go. Let it go. Just count. Just wait for me on that, Megan. And call them out to me. How many?
13.
So, did we all watch the same video? I mean, I hear from 8 to 14. It's a 20-second video. Oh, my goodness. Well, I heard some people laughing. Did you see something interesting in the video? Who saw something interesting? What'd you see?
Monkey.
A monkey?
Gorilla.
A gorilla? So a few people who saw something like that. Wow. So about 6 of us saw gorilla. The other 150 of us are saying, what did you have for breakfast? And can I get some of that stuff? Right? So I'll tell you what we're going to do, Megan. We're going to run this video one more time, but this time we are not going to count. We are just going to watch this video without counting. Go ahead and play it again. Oh, here comes something. Oh, wait a minute. He's going to pound his chest. It is the same video. Yes. So my question is, if we could literally miss a gorilla pounding his chest in front of us, you know what this represents? It represents your customers and missing the opportunity that's right in front of them in real estate. You know what they're missing? They're missing the gorilla of an opportunity. You know why? Because the media has got them all stressed out over, for the last 7 years, don't buy a house, it's not a good idea, rent, Gary Vaynerchuk's doing all kinds of rants about don't buy a home, and your customer is watching the wrong thing. In fact, this is the media's job, is to try and make it difficult for you. See, here's the thing. People like Diana Olick, for 7 years now, have been saying, do not buy a house, rent, don't buy a home. She just put something out there saying it's better to rent than buy a home. Your customers see this. So why does the media do this? Why? Why does her henchman on CNBC, like Grant Cardone, say, it's not the American dream, it's the American nightmare? Why does he say, you only should buy a home if you have $20 million? Unless you have $20 million, you got no business buying a home. He says, because you can't move. Well, I bet you the people in this room have something to say about that. You don't ever truly own it. Yes, you do. And you have to spend to keep it. Well, if you were renting, wouldn't you have to spend to stay in a rental too? I mean, I don't know where these people come from. So why do they do this? Why? I'll tell you why. It's because they're very smart. People in the media. Let's understand this, team. The media is not your friend. The media doesn't care about you. The media cares about one thing, and that is making money. How do they make money? Who knows how the media makes money?
Advertising.
Advertising. What makes you charge more for advertising? If you have what? More
Ratings.
More ratings, more eyeballs. That's why it's so expensive to advertise during the Super Bowl, because there's so many eyeballs. So the way your brain works is your brain has a portion of it called the amygdala. It's in the back of your brain, and it's very sensitive to fear. Fear is an important thing. Literally, when fear is present in your brain slows down and takes a greater imprint. It's why we all remember where we were during a tragic event. If something bad happened, you say, oh, I remember like it was yesterday. I know exactly where I was. I know just what I was doing. And the media understands this. So what the media will try to do is scare you. You'll never have the 11 o'clock anchor say, boy, wow, things are just great out there, right? No. What do? It's all this terrible stuff that they bring up. Why? Because they're trying to scare you. So if we understand this, we can explain it to our customers. Diana Olick does not care about you. Grant Cardone does not care about you. What they care about is the more eyeballs they get, the better ratings they get, and the more money they get on their next contract. That's all they care about. Let's face it, that's the facts, okay? So we have to understand how to really break stuff down. Now, I want to ask you a question. You all know that part of, as real estate agents, part of the neighborhood appeal in purchasing a home is the school system, is it not? Okay. So remember, we're going to work on our brain today. So here's the question with regards to honesty. Let's figure out how honest we all are. So this is going to be a true test for you. I'm going to ask you a question. Knowing as a real estate agent that the school system is important, your school system says, here's what we want to do. We want to go out and we want to improve the school system. We want to hire more teachers. We want to have new facilities, new programs. That sounds great to you, yes? But what does it all take, everybody? So they put out a bill to raise real estate taxes to pay for this. And guess what? It gets shut down, so they don't have it. So here's what the school says. They say, you know what we're going to do? We're going to try and do it on our own. What we're going to try and do is raise the money by doing fairs and things like that that can raise money. That sounds great, doesn't it? They want to do it on their own to make the school better. So wouldn't you want to support that? Yes or no? Yes. So they do an art fair. You show up to the art fair, and you'd like to buy something, you'd like to contribute to this, and you come across a picture that they have out there, and it's one of the things that was contributed, and it's this picture right here. And the name of the picture is called Red, Orange, Yellow. I get it. It's, you know, red, orange, and yellow. And they got the lines almost exact, but here's the honesty question. I know in your heart you're a good person, and I know you want to help your school. And I know it's also good for your neighborhood. But if they said to you that this drawing here would cost $1,900, as kind as you are and as much as you want to help, I want you to be honest, would you have a hard time forking over $1,900? Okay. Except it would have been a good idea to do so. You know why? Because this is a Rothko that went for $87 million recently. 87, yeah, I know, I don't get it either. But $87 million. It's a Rothko. You could actually see it in the Modern Museum of Art in New York. Now, when you take a look at something like this for $87 million, it's possible that people could miss that opportunity. Why? Because they don't have an expert that understands it. For example, this is a painting called Salvator Mundi. It was done by Leonardo da Vinci. And they really had a hard time selling this painting. They had a hard time. It wasn't in the greatest condition. And in 2005, they finally sold it for $10,000. About a year and a half ago, guess what it went for at auction? $450 million. True story, you could look it up. Salvator Mundi. 2005, $10,000, $450 million. Think about the person who passed it up that could have had it for $10,000. You know why? Because they didn't have an expert with them. Think about your customer and think about the role you could play as an expert, as an advisor. Because they should not look at what that house is today. You need to tell them what the value of this home would be in the future. Make no mistake about it, team. Salesperson or an advisor is the biggest threat that you have right now. Listen, I've been doing this, I can't believe what the years ago, 33 years in real estate and mortgage. I have never been more fearful for your job than I am right now. You know why? Because you are under attack. You're under attack from every location. You make too much, you're getting sued because your commissions are too high. You saw the lawsuits going on, yes? The class action lawsuits? Okay. Zillow, you think Zillow's not coming after you? Okay. You're under attack. You cannot be a salesperson. I'm not telling you this to get under your skin. I'm telling you this with love because I care and I want you to succeed. But I will tell you right now that this business is changing very, very rapidly. If you don't believe me, think about this. You do something every day, on average, 2,600 times a day. You know what it is? It's not look at your baby. It's not look at the love of your life. It's look at your phone. Don't do it right now, by the way. Put them down. 2,600 times a day you do it. Here's the scary part about it. 11 years ago, you didn't even do it once because a smartphone did not exist 11 years ago. So in 11 years, we went from not doing something to doing it 2,600 times a day. Time is compressing. There's something called Moore's Law. Technology is doubling every 2 years according to Moore's Law. You don't believe me? How about this one? 3 years ago, you had the best smartphone out there. Try and give that to your kid today. What is this? I don't want this crap. iPhone 5. When you got it, it was like, oh man, look at this thing, right? We are changing so quickly. Wayne Gretzky, greatest hockey player of all time. Why was he so great? People said because he didn't go where the puck was, he went where the puck was going. And what you have to do is you have to go where the puck is going. And I'll tell you what, the puck is going by way of an advisor. Here's an example. There used to be travel agents on every single corner. Who remembers travel agents? The millennials in this room are saying, what the frig is a travel agent? That's on my phone, right? Yeah, I know. Believe it or not, millennials in the room used to be real people that did this. They got eliminated. You know why? Because they were pompous. Because they said, shit, I don't have to change a thing. Ah, heck with that. I'll never lose my business. They need a personal touch. Kept talking themselves into it, just like some of you might be today. Oh, they'll never replace me. People like the personal touch. Oh, yeah? The personal touch of their phone is what they like. Let me tell you this. If you do stuff that is replaceable without advice, your phone will do it faster, they'll do it with less errors, and they'll do it more economically. You have to do what's called unscalable work, things the phone can't do. Something just happened that's really bad news for everybody in this room. And here it is. Richard Barton is the new CEO of Zillow. Do you know what his previous position was, everybody? Yes, very good. He was the CEO of Expedia. This man put travel agents out of a job. You were a travel agent for 10 years? Sorry, no more. Closed you up. As the CEO of Zillow, he openly has talked about the fact that he thinks that physical real estate agents could be replaced by doing it online. Now, here's a lesson to be learned. The lesson to be learned is that we have to be an advisor, and you have to take a lesson from stockbrokers. When stockbrokers were faced with, Charles Schwab, $4.95 a trade, or E-Trade, $9 a trade, and they were charging $200 a trade, many of them who were salespeople went out of business. But those who became advisors are making bank. Because what did they call themselves? Asset managers. You have to assume the role of an expert. But it's hard to change, because here's what's going to happen. We're going to go through some stuff today, and I know many of you are going to take it and you can say, you know what, I need to do business a little differently, I need to make some changes, and I'm going to do it. But then there's some of you that are going to say, oh, that sounded nice, I'm going to go back to what I'm doing. No, I'm not going to pay attention to that. When it happens, and it's going to be too late. And let me give you an example of why that is such a dangerous game to play. Because your brain, the way it's wired to be overconfident. It's wired to be overconfident because you have to be able to move forward in life and make decisions without being 100% sure. Otherwise, you'd be paralyzed. You have to say, well, I'm pretty sure I'll do this and move forward in life. Otherwise, you'd be paralyzed. It's a survival mechanism. Let me show you how it works. Here we go. Pay attention, please. Close your eyes. I want you to take your right hand. You're going to put it in the left front pocket of the person next to you. No, I'm only kidding. Don't do it. Just want to see if you guys are paying attention. Put your phones down. Okay, here we go. For reals. Here we go. Close your eyes. You're in your car. You're in your own neighborhood. You're driving in your neighborhood. And here's what I want you to think about. Drive down a road that you know, and I want you to look at a stop sign in your neighborhood that you are familiar with. Everybody tell me, please, on the count of 3, what color is the stop sign? 1, 2, 3.
Red.
Would you bet that it's red? Okay, the problem with that is we'd be wrong because the stop sign's red and white. So you see, even something that we know, we're overconfident in thinking. I'm going to give you another chance now that you know how the game is played. Here's the question, wait before you answer. Here we go. I want you to think about this. Get back in your car. Close your eyes. Back in the car. Hands on the wheel. You're driving down the road. You're in your neighborhood. You know where you are. You come up to a yield sign. Look at that yield sign. Wait for the question. Tell me what color or colors is the yield sign. Everybody.
Yellow.
Yellow and black. Exactly right. And you would bet on that now that you know, right?
Yes.
The only problem is a yield sign's red and white.
What?
Yeah. And I know somebody's going to be driving home today and it's going to say, oh my gosh, it is red and white. Yes, a yield sign is red and white. But your brain can get confused. This is why this is very important. Okay? We look at these things and we aren't aware. Now, what I'm going to show you is I'm going to show you something that I'd like you to see how your memory is. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to read something aloud, and then I want you to, when I tell you, complete it, and let's see who knows what the rest of it is. You ready? Okay. So when I tell you, we're going to read this aloud, and then when I tell you, you're going to complete the rest of it. See how good your memory is. Here we go. Everybody read it aloud together now. Complete it. Okay. All right. So just to be sure we're right, can you read that up there, please?
A bird in the hand.
Please read that.
Bird in the hand.
Please read that. Please read that. Nice and take a look at that and read that.
Bird in the hand.
Okay. Read it again one more time, everybody.
Bird in
Oh, somebody saw something. See something there? Your brain is amazing in what it does. What your brain does is it works like autocorrect, and then it runs with the best answer. Oh, I know this, and it makes you confident. This is how our brain is wired. We have to understand that we have to make changes in the way we do business because it is possible that there are errors in the wiring. Do not be like the travel agent. Let's get to the bottom of this. How does somebody buy a home? Where do they start? Online. Bingo. Online. First step, they shop with their eyes. Online. And then they see a home, they go to visit it, and they go and they're, oh my gosh, I really like this. I could see myself in here. Oh my gosh. They get excited. What do they get? Emotional, yes? Yes. The heart gets involved. But the ultimate decision to buy is based upon what? With their wallet or pocketbook, financially, yes? You know what's crazy? You don't sell that way. How do you sell? Here's how you sell. Let me tell you how you sell because I look at all your multiple listings that are out there. Amazing hardwood floors, beautiful new granite countertops, spacious closets, newly designed cabinets, wonderful school system, beautiful pool. Am I right or am I not right? Those are all important things. It just has nothing to do with how somebody buys a home. Literally nothing to do with how they buy a home. How do they buy, everybody? Based on what? Financial decision. You have to sell the financial opportunity. The good news is it's easy. Let me show you. I'm going to give you a real estate report card right here for Los Angeles County. And by the way, you can do this for any place in the world. Finance of America does this. They've created these for you. And what they can do is they can give you these and put these in your hand. Let's go slowly. Now, if you're sitting in the back or you can't read this, don't worry. I'm going to go over it with you nice and slow. The first thing that comes up on the real estate report card is whether it's in the top 10, 20, or 30% in the United States in certain categories. So as it turns out, Los Angeles County happens to have some gold badges. Gold badges means top 10% in the United States. What is it? In historical appreciation, in forecasted 5-year appreciation, in forecasted 1-year appreciation. That's pretty good. Did you guys know that about Los Angeles County? Did you know Los Angeles County is in the top 20% in the United States in median income? And by the way, if you don't know this stuff, ask yourself this question: shouldn't I know this? Or do I want to be a travel agent? If I'm an expert, isn't this something an expert should know? Isn't this a good selling feature? Well, let's take a look. The median home price is $573,000 here. Do you know that for the last 59 years, you've averaged 6.34% appreciation? Do you know that in the last 10 years, you've averaged about 1% a year appreciation because of the housing bubble? And that's what scares people. For the last 5 years, you've been on fire. You've been averaging over 10% appreciation a year. Homes have been going up really strong. What's the forecast for the next 12 months? 5.57%. What is it for the next 5 years cumulatively? 37%. 37%. Here's what that means. You buy that home for $573,000, that's the median home price. How many of you have homes that are much more expensive than that? Okay. But if it was only $573,000, you know you'd gain $217,000 in the next 5 years. That's right. That $573,000 home would go for $790,000 5 years from now, based upon just this appreciation, which, by the way, is lower than what it's been for the last 59 years. You will see appreciation decline from what it's been, but because of those numbers, and by the way, I see you all taking pictures. The great news is this. Talk to Gino, talk to any of his team, talk to Don. You don't even have to take pictures. They'll give it to you. They will give this to you. You see, team, this is how somebody buys a home. They're negotiating. They're off by $5,000. You've been in this situation, yes? 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 Okay, what's the next thing they say? Oh, why don't you take it out of your commission? Don't you love that one? Okay? Or you've never heard that before? Oh, okay. Just want to make sure. So, $5,000, you want to miss out on this home? Or you want to buy this home, pony up $5,000 to make $217,000 in the next 5 years? Because that's where we are headed. That's where the puck is going. This is what an advisor does. And look, if the numbers seem too crazy for you, Cut this in half. Instead of 5% a year, at 2.5% a year. 2.5% a year, it would be $100,000. Or is that no good, $100,000? No good? Okay. But these numbers have been accurate within 86%, and this is less than you have seen per year, certainly in the last 5 years, but less than you have seen on average per year for the last 59 years. It's just what most customers can't see. If you're struggling with it, it's your customers feeling the same thing. Look, team, if I showed you this 5 years ago, nobody would have believed me. But instead of it being up 5%, it's up 10%. So a home that was $500,000 5 years ago, isn't it true that that home's selling for $800,000 or $900,000 today? Yes or no? Yes. Your customer doesn't see this. You have to be the light that shows them what's important. You want to show them the cabinets, or you want to show them $217,000? Let your competition focus on the cabinets. You focus on why they buy a home. That's what an advisor does. You know why you're seeing appreciation? I'll tell you why. There is only 2 homes available for every 1,000 people in Los Angeles County. You have 10.15 million people in your population. 10.15 million people live here. 5,100,000 people are renters. Of the people renting, 918,000 of them are renting but can buy a home today if they wanted to. They're qualified. They're ready to go. Why are they still renting? Why? Number one answer. I thought I needed 20% down. In 2019, that is the number one answer. Please think about this in your marketing. Instead of marketing, oh, look at the lovely flooring, market that you could buy this home with very little money down, because that's what they need to hear. Second answer, I'm afraid of another housing crash. Can you blame them? There was one 10 years ago. Can you blame them? That's all the media talks about. Of course they're afraid. You know what you need to do? Be the advisor and show them what the real numbers are. Why? Because look at this. Of the 10 million people, 4 million of them, 40%, are ages 27 to 35. Who can tell me what age 27 to 35? Why is that important? Because what group is that? That's your first-time home buyer. That's your first-time home buyer. The engine of growth. So if you've got 4 million people in that age group, every year of 4 million, 302,000 of them, what's that? 1 in 8, okay? 1 in 7 are leaving mommy and daddy, and they're going to either buy or rent a place on their own. That's called forming a household. Why is that so important? Because here's the deal. Based upon your home ownership rate in Los Angeles County of 47%, we take 47% of these, about 150,000. That's how many are going to be buying a home, but they're all not going to do it as individuals. Many of them will do it as couples. So you know what the amount of couples are in Los Angeles County, and you know that you're going to be seeing 89,000 homes purchased in the next 12 months by first-time home buyers. So what are they doing? They're taking that off the market, that inventory. They're sucking that out of what you had. So for your inventory to remain balanced, builders have to build, well, how many homes? 89,000. Thank you. How many are they building? 18. What does this tell you? Thank you. Say it loud. Shortage of housing. When you have more people that want to buy something and not enough of it, what happens to the price? There you go. It's amazing when you use real numbers and real mathematics instead of, oh, let me scare you so you tune in. Stop with the crap listening to that garbage. This is the facts. Before the housing bubble, it was different. You had new construction through the roof. Growth was down here. Yes, you're going to have a housing bubble. Too much product, not enough people. That is not the case today. Now, what about your job situation here? You see this chart here going up? That's your job growth going up. You see your unemployment going down. Your income's 40% higher than the national average. If there's one knock on this area, one knock, it's affordability. Your affordability index is not great. It's 65. That means the median income can afford 65% of the median home price. That's the one weakness in this market. But that is why, in the United States, There's a 65% home ownership rate. In Los Angeles County, it's 47%. But just based on sheer numbers, sheer population, 10 million people here, 1 million renters who could afford to purchase, people that are renting that could afford to purchase, the people that are in the 27 to 35 age group, forming sheer numbers will push you up. Now, I'm not saying you're going to continue at 10%. The numbers bear out that you should be seeing about 5% a year. But for the last 59 years, you've been averaging 6. This is very feasible to obtain. So, by the way, do you like this?
Yes.
Would this be of use for you to show your customer? I mean, you'd be insane not to. Zillow. How did Zillow get to be as big as they have been? How did they start? What was the first thing they put out there? The Zestimate. It wasn't even accurate. But people wanted it so badly, it propelled them to this gigantic household word. If I said Zillow to you 12 years ago, Sandy, you'd smack me. So, are you getting fresh with me? Zillow? What is that? Right? Zillow is a household word today because of those estimates. Not because they were accurate, but because people are starved for it. Your customer. What do you think your customer is going to say? No, I don't care about this stuff. Biggest investment in my life. I don't want to know if it's going to go up or down. I'll take my chances. Is that what they want? If you were buying a home today, would you want to know this information? So why don't you share it with all your customers? Finance of America created it for you. I mean, just tell them. By the way, tell the Finance of America person who brought you here today, text them right now and say, I want this. And what they'll do is they will create a co-branded piece. You can send it to everybody. By the way, if you're a listing agent, do you think this would be nice to have, to show people why they should be buying your home? Or do you want to be like every other realtor out there? Here, look at the cabinets. Okay? Listen, team, I know I'm kind of kidding around with stuff, but it is no joke. This is your livelihood. This is your family's livelihood. This is making yourself much more of an advisor. And by the way, who deals with Spanish-speaking clients, yes or no? Yes. Finance of America thought of everything. You can do this in Spanish. Your Finance of America representative can give you this in less than 30 seconds, and wherever they are from their phone, they can give it to you and co-brand it with you. It's easy to do, team. It is so easy to do. All right, by the way, Ventura County. Who works in Ventura County? Let's take a look at Ventura. So Ventura, top 10% historical appreciation, median income, 5-year appreciation, $660 median home price. You buy that home today, you're looking at $230,000. In the next year, home value is going up 4%. We're not talking big numbers here, team. But 4% on the numbers of these homes is big. It's big. There's 80,000 renters who could qualify to buy a home. You need to be building 76 homes a year. You're building 1,400 homes a year. Ventura has a little better affordability, but not much better than Los Angeles. About 78% affordability. Great job growth, so low unemployment, and your income's about double the national average. This is a great market, team. You should be shouting this from the rooftops. Who saw the Gary Vee piece? Like 2 people here? Do you guys have an internet connection? What the heck? I mean, who saw the Gary Vee piece? Raise your hand. Okay, some of you. It's easy to find. Those of you that saw it, did it piss you off? Yes or no? Or you like people saying real estate's stupid? He says this. Here's what Gary Vee says. He says home ownership is BS. Bullshit. Don't do it. The last time home ownership was a good idea was 1954. I mean, this man is out there telling people, and he's got enormous, millions and millions and millions of people listen to him. Your customer listens to him. So wait a minute, you're saying it's not a good time to buy? By the way, any of you make money in real estate in the last 55 years here, 65 years? Anybody make any money in real estate? Okay. Prices have gone up from where they were 60 years ago? A little bit? Okay. So is he wrong on that one? He says it's a very bad use of upfront capital. You should take that money, do not put it in a house rent, and put it in the stock market. He also says that he is pissed. He owns it. He says, literally, watch the video. I'm pissed I own a home. Well, Gary, sell it. Don't be pissed at yourself. Here, call one of you nice folks. Sell his home. Okay? Don't be pissed. So let's break this down. First of all, one of the things that happens over time with rents is they do what, ladies and gentlemen? They go up. Take a look at what Zillow says about rents. Okay? You don't have to look much further than just to look at the direction of the chart in the last few years. So should you buy a home or should you rent a home? According to Gary Vee, you should rent. But according to you folks, I'm going to pose this to you, I'm going to map it out for you, and I want you to tell me if you think you should buy a home or if you think you should rent a home. Here you go. So we're in Los Angeles County. We're looking at a $500,000 home because we know what the square footage is based upon the cost per square foot. You're talking about, let's call it a 1,200 square foot home to round it off. If you were to look at a $500,000 home, the rent is about $2,300 a month comparably. Would you agree so far that these are the numbers? These are averages. Okay, good. See everybody shaking their head, good. Now, in the United States, rents are going up at 3.5% a year. Hope you knew that. But if those of you are working here in Los Angeles County, do you know what it is specific to your county? Because you should. You're supposed to be an advisor. It's going up at 3% a year here, lower than the national average. So you should use what it is specific. And you know what your taxes are on that's $5,000. You probably knew that right away anyway, right? Now let's say this person says, I'm going to live there for 10 years, and let's say we got a mortgage rate of 4.5%. I'm sorry, 9 years, 4.5% interest rate, and they're going to put 10% down. Now you have all the numbers. So you tell me, now that you know everything, is it better to buy this home or is it better to rent a home? So, I mean, just listen to this room. We have a room here, 200 people. You guys are supposed to be advisors, and I'm asking you a question, and listen to the tentative nature of your response. Now, if I said this to you, let's say it is better to buy. Here's my next question. How much better to buy than rent? How much better? Now, team, listen, in all sincerity here. Why do you not have the ability to answer that question? You're supposed to be the expert. If an app could do that quicker than you, if it could, and you don't, you're at a disadvantage. This is what a travel agent's response would be. I don't know. Okay? And that's why they're not here. I'm telling you this because you need to understand this. It is critical. God forbid you went to do a doctor because you weren't feeling well and it was something serious. God forbid. And you go to the doctor and you say, okay, doc, what should I do? Should I have the surgery? Can I do therapy? Is there medication? How long is the recovery? And the doctor looked at you and went, shit, I don't know. Is that the doctor you want to recommend your family to go visit? So when you're asked a question like this, as their real estate doctor, expert, advisor, you need to understand the answer to this question. The good news is it's so easy to do. It's just like anything else. Once you know the code, it's so easy, and then you crush your competition. You crush your competition. Because make no mistake, when you go after a transaction, it is winner take all. Or do you get a second prize? Second prize, oh, look what they sent me for second prize. I didn't get the sale, but look at the nice gift I got. No? Right? Guys, it's winner take all. And listen, winner means you get everything. You get the customer, you get the referrals, you get the future business out of that customer. Loser, you put all the work in, you got zero. That means your family got zero. That means you got zero, your kids got zero. Zero. Everything is better than zero. You will crush your competition. I am sorry to put it so bluntly, but that's the way it is. There's only one winner. Only one. And the winner is going to be the advisor. Why? Because the advisor knows how to break this down for the customer in a way that makes sense. So team, here you go. We're going to put the numbers in. So we put in our $2,300 a month rent. We put in the renter's insurance. We know it goes up 3% a year. We said 10% down. Let's pick a 4.5% rate. We put our closing costs in, and we got our taxes. But one thing about taxes that we know is taxes do what? Over time. Very good. So why shouldn't we tell that to them? Wait a minute, Barry, you want to tell them something bad? Heck yeah, I want to tell them something bad. I want to tell them as much bad stuff as I can. Do you know why? Why do I do that? You're being honest, yes, and because it does what? Builds trust. Trust is everything. You have such an opportunity to build trust every time you say something bad. You have to be the bearer of bad news. Do not sell, advise. When you go to a restaurant and you say, okay, I'll have the meatloaf, and the waitress goes, don't, stay away from it. It's been sitting all week. I haven't moved the thing all week. Don't get it. Do you like that waitress more or less? Probably gets a bigger tip. They tell you something good or bad, told you something bad, didn't they? Be the bearer of bad news. People will trust you more. You go buy clothing, right? When you go to a clothing store, what happens? Anything you try on. Whatever it is. I got a clothing store in New Jersey where I live. This guy, Larry, he comes out, whatever I try on, it's like, buddy, that's fantastic. I'm like, Larry, you know, don't you think the jacket is a little short, you know? It's like, no, in Europe, that's the latest style. Everybody's wearing it like that in Europe. I'm like, that's not the guy I want. You know who I want? I want the guy that says, Barry, that doesn't fit you right. Don't get that. That's not good. Because then when they say, hey, I really like that, what do? We believe them. We trust them. Yes, yes, yes. So we want to tell them that. You know what else we're going to do? We're going to put in our mortgage insurance. We're going to put in our homeowner's insurance. And here's another thing we're going to tell them. Repair costs. If I'm renting, who pays the repairs? Who pays the repairs if I'm renting? Landlord. If I own the thing, whose dime is it on? Bingo. Why do we want to hide that? Because we know the data in Los Angeles County on a $500,000 home, you're going to average about $2,500 a year in repairs. It's going to be lumpy. Maybe you don't have it for a year, and then all of a sudden you get hit with $2,000, right? Is this going to happen? Yes or no? Yes. So why don't we tell our customer that? Because nobody does. When all your competition's trying to sell them and you advise them, who is trusted more? Bingo. Mr. and Mrs. Client, we know that in your market, you need to, when you want to compare this, put $208 a month as an additional cost for home ownership. So when you make the comparison, let's make sure we're doing it right, because I don't want you to have a misleading calculation. You know what happens when your customer says, oh my gosh, oh my gosh? The client is putting what's good for me ahead of their commission. It's game over. It's game over. Listen, team. In South America, there are these spider monkeys. They are so difficult to capture because they're nocturnal, so they only come out at night. And when they come out, they're very valuable, but they're very tough to capture. So the hunters, they came up with this great way to do it. A very heavy box, ventilated, with the best food that these spider monkeys love. And they make one little slit. Spider monkey finds it. They're very smart. They smell it. They're going crazy. They see a little slit. They find it. They put their hand in. They get the food. And they go to take their hand out, but they can't. Why? Because the slit's too narrow for their fist and the food. And you know what the hunters do? They just come and pick them up. They trap themselves because they're afraid to let go. And in life, so many people, whatever it is, business, relationships, selling, they're afraid to let. You could have everything you want. Let go. Stop being afraid. Tell everybody all the negatives that there are out there. Build trust and watch your business explode. Watch them tell everyone, because they trust you, because you're not afraid to tell them all the bad stuff. And the cost to sell, let's figure that in there. Let's put a commission when they sell it on the future value of the home. Now here's the thing. We know for what the appreciation is for historical, what it is for the future, even though for the future it's going down. And now we need to tell them their tax picture. Because so many people say, oh, you get a big tax deduction for buying a home, right? Yes? You got to be careful about that. The tax laws have changed. And I know you could say a mortgage is tax deductible up to $750 in mortgage. I know you could say real estate taxes up to $10,000. I get it. I hear you. But there's something called the standard deduction. And the standard deduction means whether you buy or rent, if you're married, you're going to get $24,400 deduction. So in order to get a benefit, it's got to be greater than $24,400 in deductible items, team. Please be careful. Let your competitor make a fool of themselves. You protect your customer by telling the truth. This is a competition killer. Because once your competition screws this one up, every single thing that comes out of their mouth is BS and it's not going to be believed. You will be the one that is honest and educated and the true advisor. So it's easy to do. Finance of America has built it in so in 1 second they can give you this. So let's go and review it. Okay, here we go. If I go to buy this home, it's $3,100 a month. If I go to rent it, it's $2,300 a month. $800 a month more. What do a lot of people say? It's $800 a month more. Even though I'm qualified, I'm going to rent. Don't be afraid. You can call them out here. Okay? So it's $3,100 to buy, $2,300 to rent. What looks better on the payment side? Right. Renting. So a lot of people say, screw it, I'm renting. Gary Vee is right. But look at the purple line. You see how it starts to move up, 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 up? Yep. That's because it got 3% rental increase. Now, over the 9 years, it will be $57,000 more expensive to buy the home than it would be to rent the home. You got it. In Los Angeles County, that's the numbers. No problem. It's not like this in other parts of the country. Sometimes it's cheaper to buy. But in Los Angeles County, that's the way it is. Okay. Except that, what about that appreciation? You see, the gain on that home over 9 years is going to be $354,000. $354,000. And when you make your mortgage payment, ladies and gentlemen, $2,280 is principal and interest. So everybody, please tell me, all of you, where does the interest go? Who gets the interest? The lender, yes? Who gets the principal? Notice the tentativeness in this. This should be the biggest selling feature of it all. The homeowner gets that back. It's their own money. It's the best savings account in the world. The best. So, team, when you have something like this, and you say, well, a big chunk of this is your own money, how much is it? It's $78,000. Yeah, by the way, tax-free and guaranteed. And nobody is talking about it. They're all too busy like the gorilla. They're missing the gorilla like this because they're too busy doing something and counting. And by the way, the correct answer was 12. So, how many times have I passed the ball? So, with respect to this amount of money, this is a lot more important than a lot of the things we're talking about. So yeah, it's $57,000 more, but $78,000 of it is your own money. So it's really $21,000 cheaper to buy than rent when you factor that in. Now, what about your tax benefit? Here's your tax benefit on this. You ready? Over the whole 9 years, your tax benefit is $239. Grand total for 9 years. $25 a year. $2 a month. So your mortgage payment is $31.64 and you get $2 back tax break because of the new tax laws. So Mr. and Mrs. that is a fact. Those are factual numbers. And the reason why it's so hard to believe is because everyone else is thinking, remember your brain. Okay? Remember, yield signs red and white. Remember the. Everybody thinks it's one way. What I'm trying to teach you today is stuff that people are not understanding. God bless you, it's true. What I'm trying to show you today is stuff that your competition is not doing and how to crush them. What I can't do is make you become somebody who utilizes this in daily practice. What I can't do is stop you from going back to the same old stuff and being like one of those other people. I can't do that. Only you can do that. And that really means how bad do you want it? How bad do you want to be an advisor? Because this stuff is easy. Now, what about the cost to sell? If the future value of the home goes up to $854,000, your real estate commission's $42,000 on it. Let's take that into consideration. And once again, I see a lot of you taking pictures of this. Don't worry. The guys at Finance of America are going to give this to you. But here's the bottom line. If you purchase this home, instead of renting it 9 years from now, you would gain $323,000. That is the difference. That's the cost of renting instead of buying. It will cost you $323,000. Now, by the way, what if it was 5 years? $144,000. What if it was 10 years? $361,000. What if it's 2 years? $21,000. Here's the truth. Mr. and Mrs. Customer, if you're going to live in this home and probably move in a year or so, do not buy it. Rent it. And this is what you have to tell them, because that's truly what's right for them. We never want to sell somebody. We never want to hurt them. We never want, even if we make a commission, it doesn't matter. Always do what's right. And I know that's what's in your heart. But here is what guides you, because now you know you're not guessing anymore. Let your competition play guessing. Yeah, I don't know. You know, this is a lot of money, $323,000. It's important that people should be able to make the right decisions for the right things. And by the way, team, just tell your Finance of America professional, and in less than 60 seconds, they'll have it in your hand, co-branded, to give it to your customer. Every single customer you're marketing to should have this in their hands to help them make a decision. Every single one. Because you don't want your competition doing this and you missing out. Just text them, say, get me on this right away. It's free. Gary! Remember Gary? So Gary, what about the appreciation, $354,000? You missed that one. Oh, it's only $354,000. Come on, doesn't make much of a difference. What about the amortization, the $78,000? Gary didn't think about that one, did he? I guess not. It's only $78,000. To a guy like this who's got 25 Lamborghinis, what's $78,000 amongst friends? Come on. What about the rent going up? Do we watch that rent go up, 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 up? See, that's the nice thing about buying a home. Look, let me put it to you this way. Your customer's afraid of another housing bubble, yeah? If they were the most unluckiest person in the world, they bought a home the day before the housing bubble 10 years ago. The day before. Guess what would have happened? They would have their home value now be about the same or higher than it was. So they make money on that. They would have $90,000 in amortization. They would have savings in rent because they would have stopped their rent from going up over 9 years. And they would be big winners today. And that's if they're the unluckiest person in the world. What if they weren't the unluckiest person in the world? And by the way, that person 10 years ago, you know that they would have refinanced. Maybe they got a modification. Maybe they got stuff salvaged for them. Those people that bought and did a modification are paying 2% mortgages and forgiven $40,000 in principal. How great are they doing today? Okay? Team, real estate, because of simple supply and demand, goes up over time. And by the way, you're not subject to the landlord's rules. Do you want freedom or you want somebody telling you what you can and can't do? What would you rather have? Oh no, please, no, tell me what I'm allowed to do. That's what I'd rather do. And leverage. Let me teach you a lesson in leverage that Gary Vaynerchuk needs to understand. See, your clients need to know this. I'm going to give you an amazing illustration right now. Please pay attention. So here's what happens. Gary Vaynerchuk says, well, real estate's been going up 5% a year. Now, I know here it's been going up closer to 6, but let's be conservative. Stocks historically about 10% a year. They've been going up closer to 9, but let's give the benefit to stocks. So stocks 10%, real estate 5%, and I'm being conservative. I'm cutting real estate and boosting stocks. So Gary, you're right. Stocks look like they're a better value. That's why he said, remember what he said? It's a bad use of upfront capital. He'd rather put it in the stock market. Watch the video. So wait a second. Let's make this simple. Simple, simple, simple. I know you cannot get a $100,000 home, but to use simple math, if you could, if that home went up 5%, how much of a gain would that give you, everybody? $5,000, right? So, if you buy a home, the most popular down payment is a 10% down payment. 10% on $100,000 is how much? So that's your upfront capital. That's what I could have put in the stock market. And if I would have put $1,000 in the stock market and gotten 10%, I would have made $1,000, right? Pretty good. But if I put 10% or $10,000 in real estate and I got $5,000, who can tell me real quick without a calculator, $5,000 is what percent return on my money? 50%. Gary, is 50 bigger than 10? Oh, you bet it is. Okay? This is what people in the media either don't get or purposely try and hide from you so they can get ratings. This is the lesson we have to give our customers. This explains exactly what is going on and why. Now, math skills, again, really critical, really important. I'm going to test you on your math skills. Are you ready? Come on, are you ready? Yes. All right, I want you to focus. I want you to focus because I need you to focus, okay? Here we go. Pay attention. You're the driver. There are 6 people on the bus. The next stop, 2 get on, 5 get off. The next stop, 3 get on, 4 get off. The next stop, 4 get on, 3 get off. 2 get on, I'm sorry, 1 gets on, 2 get off. Here's my question. How many stops did the bus make? How many stops did the bus make? Call them out. The answer is 4. Correct. How many people are remaining on the bus? Not counting the bus driver. How many people are remaining on the bus? Very good. Very good. Very good. Okay, last question. How old's the bus driver? How old do you think the bus driver is? Okay. So some people, listen. What was the very first thing I said to you? You're driving the bus. So many of us have our customers say things that we just don't listen or pay attention to. And we wonder why we can't close them. You see, there's a big difference between waiting for somebody to stop talking and listening to them. We have to listen to our customers. We have to ask our customers. These are things that they want to know. Who needs some motivated buyers? Okay, let me set this up for you. Here we go. Here we go. You ready? Tell me if you can relate to this. You took somebody out looking at homes, and they went out 2, 3, maybe 4 times, and they didn't find anything. Who can relate to that? Okay, everybody in the room, yes? And by the way, is it tiring to take somebody out all day looking at homes? It's freaking exhausting. So God bless you guys. You work very, very hard for what you do. So now that customer's looked at 3 days worth of shopping for homes, they couldn't find anything, and then because they couldn't find anything, what do they say to you? Can't find anything. Maybe I'll wait, come back in the future, maybe I'll come. God knows if they'll ever come back, right? And by the way, how does that feel? Sucks, you're right. Can we agree on that one? Yes. Okay. So here is the script that I'm going to teach you. Please pay close attention. The next time this happens, and it's probably going to happen this weekend, so please pay attention. Mr. and Miss Client, I understand it's very tiring looking for a home, but it really can be worth it. You see, here's the thing. I understand that you want to take some time off, but while you take some time off, the market doesn't. And it's important to be able to see the impact of the changing market while you're waiting on the sidelines. And here's where you call your teammate from Finance of America, and you say, please send me the cost of waiting. And in about 15 seconds, in your specific market, you just tell them where you are. They'll do it for your market based upon all the current rates and everything, and here's what you're going to get. I'll read it to you. So let's say if it's a $600,000 home with 10% down. $600,000 home, 540 mortgage, 60,000 down payment, 4.5% rate. If they waited just 6 months, the forecast for your market is for prices to go up 2.75%. So a similar home or the same home 6 months from now would sell for $616,000. That means you need more down payment money, but it also means if you want to keep the same 10% down, you've got to borrow $15,000 more. That costs more money. Here's the biggest thing. Today, the interest rate's 4.5%. According to the Mortgage Bankers of Association, their forecast 6 months from now is the rate is 5%. So if you waited just 6 months, your monthly payment for the same home or a similar home at the same price is going to be up $262 a month. $262 a month every month more for the next 30 years. $262 a month more every month. And you would have lost $16,000 in appreciation and $4,300 in amortization because you would have been amortizing that loan. So it's $20,790. $20,000. You lose $20,000 once for waiting 6 months, and then after that it's $262 a month every single month. Mr. and Mrs. Client, are you sure you don't want to keep looking? Team, this is gold in your hands. Now, will every single customer say yes? No, but objectively, do you think your customer realizes this when they want to take 6 months off? By showing them the focus on this, do you think it might keep some people in the game with you? Okay. That's what we want to do. That's what we want. All of these things, step by step by step, we win. And by the way, all this stuff looks amazing on your mobile device. Here's the appreciation. Here's the buy versus rent. Here's the real estate report card. It looks great on their phone, looks great on your phone. You can co-brand it, send it to them. Finance of America has this dialed in. Now people say, look, demographics have changed. High school sweethearts. If you're in the 1950s and a couple just graduated from high school, you tell me, what was the next big step? Bingo, let's get married. But in the 70s it changed. People change over time. When they graduated high school in the 70s, what was the next big step then? Let's get stoned. Yeah, exactly. It was the 70s. Somebody knew that one. There you go. In the 90s, it changed again. What was going on then? Hey, let's get tested first. Okay. Today, what is it today? I'm going to update my social media status, right? Let me post it. Oh, yeah, I graduated. Right? That's what we do. Times change, people change. So people say, maybe millennials aren't buying homes anymore. Not true. Things have changed. Look, in 1960, on average, people getting married at 20.5. You were 20 years old, getting married. You were having kids at 21 in 1960. Today, it's not uncommon to be over 30 for both. So if you believe that people get married, then have kids, and then look to buy a home. People aren't not buying homes, they're just waiting a little longer to do so. Millennials are doing that. Look, this is really important because here's what you have to do. You have to understand how demographics works. This is critical. I started talking demographics with you when I was showing you the household formations from the first-time home buyers. Listen, here's the deal. This is a chart of how many people were born every single year. So, in the silent generation, this is how many people were born. Then all of a sudden the baby boomers went crazy. And then you got your Gen Xers and your millennials resurging again. So, baby boomers. Very important to understand that because it changed everything for business. One of the best guys to do that was a guy by the name of Lee Iacocca. Who knows who Lee Iacocca is? Okay, good. So Lee Iacocca was running what company? Chrysler, but before that, where was he? Ford, correct. So when he was with Ford, Lee Iacocca really had some new ideas. You see, Ford was struggling, and it was run by Henry Ford Jr. Henry Ford Jr. was a stodgy old guy, never wanted to change anything, okay? He's, oh, we don't change anything. Lee Iacocca said, look at this chart of baby boomers. You see this? Look at these kids going through the roof. Now they're all like 20 years old, the big baby boomers. Let's build a car that would give them like a convertible, inexpensive, sporty, that's really going to appeal to that demographic. Henry Ford said, listen, that chart, that's mumbo jumbo. Do the same thing we're doing. Might as well have been a travel agent, okay? So now, they fought about it, and fought about it, and fought about it, and Lee Iacocca won. And the car that they created was called the Mustang. How many cars do you know that 50 years later you still have the same model? Okay? Mustang, greatest selling car in the history of Ford. He created it because he wanted to appeal to this. He looked at this chart. Now, they hated each other. The success of it did not bring them closer together. Lee Iacocca now had a lot of sway in the company, and Henry Ford, the chairman, Henry Ford II, he hated that. So they hated each other. They used to fight all the time. Look at this. This is from a board meeting, actual picture.
Oh, my God.
Henry Ford II, not even making eye contact, okay? They hated each other. You know what they used to do? Today you got mobile device, you got Bluetooth, you got all kinds of freedom. Remember when you had to be tied to the phone? Okay? You know what grown men, you know what they did? It's a true story. They used to go into each other's office when they were on a big call, when they couldn't get off the call. They'd go into each other's office, they'd fart, and they'd leave. Grown men. That's how much they hated Who does that? That's how much they hated each other, okay? So what we want to do was we want to channel our inner Lee Iacocca, okay? Because Lee Iacocca, by the way, in a big fight with Henry Ford, July 13th, 1978, Henry Ford II liked to drink. He got buzzed, he got drunk, he gets into a fight with Lee Iacocca, and you know what he does? He fires Lee Iacocca. Lee Iacocca gets fired. He wasn't going to stay unemployed for long. Where did he go? The bankrupt Chrysler Corporation. Bankrupt. Lee, save us. What did Lee do? Goes right back to the demographic chart. He said, yep, you see these baby boomers? When they were at this age, they were just at the point where they were single. They needed a car like the Mustang. Now they're married. They got 3 kids. They got all kinds of crap they got to schlep around. What did he create? Minivan. Got Chrysler out of bankruptcy. By the way, not the sexiest drive on the road, okay? But still. It became so needed that this was the greatest selling car that Chrysler ever had and took him out of bankruptcy because he understood this. Do you understand your demographics? Do you? Who knows the median age of a first-time home buyer? 33 years old according to Zillow, which means what year were they born? 1985, 1986, right here on the chart. That's where they were born. Who can tell me what they noticed if you were Lee Iacocca? What happened after 85, 86 to the birth rates? What happened? Guys, what happened to the birth rates? They went up. Which means every year, what is going to happen to the amount of 33-year-olds looking to buy a home every single year for the next 7 years? More demand. What do you think that's going to do to demand on homes? Okay? Obviously, it's going to cause them to go up. So listen, how about during the housing bubble? Remember I said the housing bubble is different? That's why you can't say this is like the housing bubble. The housing bubble, would you agree that the housing bubble for many of us was back in when? 2000 and what? 2006, 2007, 2008, right? So if you were 33 years old then, when were you born? Right there. Okay? 1973, 1974. How were the birth rates then? Why did the birth rates go down so much? Who could tell me there's a reason for that? Who can tell me why birth rates dropped like crazy? Who? Vietnam, I understand that, but that's not really why the birth rates dropped. Good answer, though. What else? Birth control was here. Good answer, but that was this. Birth control legalized in 1960. Look at the birth rates after birth control. But this was something else. What happened right here in January of 1973? The Supreme Court, 7-2, ruled. Roe versus Wade. Abortions became legal, birth rates dropped, and 33 years later, you had a housing bubble. True story. Birth rates and demographics matter. Nobody understands this. Nobody talks about it, which is why I'm explaining to you. So when you explain to your customer, this was led to the housing bubble, this is what's leading to home prices going up. We are in a different world. You need to show your customer because you are an advisor. You're not a salesperson. You're not a travel agent. You're going to help them. Don't believe me? This is household formations in blue every year since 2002. So I leave mommy and daddy and I go form a household. I move out on my own to buy or rent. Here's what was happening. They were going up, 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 and then you see what happened here in 2006? 2006, 33 years before 2006 is 1973. What was legalized? What was legal? Abortion was legal in 1973. This is abortion. And then it started to come back. Look at the gold bars. You know what that is? Builders putting up homes. So builders put up all these homes like lunatics. Yeah, let's build. Because nobody explained to them what was happening with the birth rates 33 years before. Otherwise, they wouldn't have done it. I knew that. That's why I sold my company. Look it up. Closed June 27th, 2007, because I looked at this chart. Have to understand what demographics mean. Now, look at what's happening now. Builders are not putting up enough homes. You've seen it. And this is the household formations. Now, what do we know is going to happen to this blue line over the next 7 years? What do you know is going to happen? Why is it going to go up? Because it looks like a carbon copy of this. This is this. They're coming. This is, you can't stop it. You can't like reverse it. They were born. So unless the builders put up these homes in mass quantity, you will have more demand than supply. And what did we learn in Economics 101? More demand than there is supply. What happens to home prices? They should be pretty well supported. Yeah. Okay, so what if there's a recession, Barry? Got you on that one. Let's take a look. Here's the last 6 recessions. The blue line's the Case-Shiller Home Price Index. What's very interesting? Oh, wait a minute. Home prices went up. They went up. They went up. They went up. They went up. The last recession, they didn't go down. They stayed flat during the recession. People confuse the housing bubble when prices went down with the recession. Why do home prices go up or stay flat during recessions? Who can tell me why? Because of interest rates. Interest rates always decline during recessions as the government tries to stimulate things. Okay? Much lower interest rates causes homes to become more affordable. Okay? Team, listen. Around the globe, things are happening every day. You know Brexit's back in the news, right? Don't you love the media? Frickin' media. Don't you love them? They take a big event and they say, ooh, Britain exiting. Let's call it Brexit. So you guys could do this too. You could play at the same game as the media. Let me give you one. You know they're talking about Greece exiting the European Union. What would you call that one if you're in the media? Come on.
Brexit.
Yes. Come on, guys. You could do this. How about this one? How about Italy? They're talking about Italy leaving the European Union. What would you call Italy leaving? How about it'll leave? All right? How about Portugal departing? What would you call Portugal departing? Departugal, right, exactly. Hey, I bet you know this one. Finland, come on. Yeah, finish, there you go. All right, everybody's going to get this one. Czech Republic. Yeah, you got it. Now look, but in all seriousness, the second largest economy in Europe is France. If France were to leave, whew, the media might just call that one, "Fruck off," right? But team, in all seriousness, look, God bless you. You have a lot of hard work that you do every day. I don't know, you know, it's really, really hard. You show people's homes, right? And the home's not in that great a shape. You got to find something nice to say. Well, I have to tell you, sir, these steps, they look very sturdy. Give you that one. You know, you have to find something nice to say. But listen, when you list a home, here's really something that's going to change the way you list homes, and you will get many more listings at point of sale because of this. Please pay attention. It's very important because almost all your competitors are doing it wrong. Because I looked. Before I came here, I looked. You will see in your multiple listing, you'll see a lot of them showing the price, but with 999, 9990. Look, you'll see it, look. Everybody's brainwashed, because since you were a little kid, every price you saw, $999, $29.99, $999. Lease this car for $199 a month, right? 3 easy payments of $19.99. So when you list a home, it's just naturally, okay, $599, $990. Am I right? Okay. It's not the way people buy. And put it to you this way, here's why. Somebody comes in and they say, look, show me homes up to $600,000. Max is $600,000. If they're online, what are they looking? $575 to $600, right? The little drop-down boxes, $575 to $600. Now, if your home's listed at $599, $990, you're fine. What if the next person says, oh, I'm qualified, max $625? Guess what they're pulling down in the drop-down? What are they pulling down? $600 to $625. Guess what happens then? You do not show up. And if you do not show up in the search, they're not going to go visit your home. And if they don't visit your home to get seen, it's not going to get sold. The computer just tells you what you put in. So they say, wait a minute, nope, $599, $990. It doesn't know that it's $10 difference. It doesn't know that it could be the best value for them. It just knows it's not the criteria you asked for. So how do we fix this? You fix it very easily. You do not list the home for $599, $990. You go against everything we've been brainwashed, and you list it for $600,000, and you straddle both price points. You double your exposure, and you sell your homes more quickly. Now, what's the real magic of this? Here's the real magic. The next listing you go on, when your competitor said, oh, let's list it for $599, $990, you show them this, and you get the listing, because this makes sense to every single person in this room, doesn't it? What do you think your customer's going to say? They're doing it wrong. You're doing it right. Who gets the listing? You bet you do. Now, to make this easy, team, your Finance of America professional, right in their MBS Highway Presentation Expressway, they have these exact slides for you. Ask them for it. They'll give you the slides. Show it right on your phone to make it easy. Not every slide I just had. They're just going to give you these, okay? They'll show you this one, this one, this one, and this one that you can show on your phone. Okay? Good stuff? Say thank you to the teammates at Finance of America for doing that. Look, it's very important. I want to give you a quick story here because it is really important that we understand this. Here's what's critical, everybody, is that in times of change like we have now, history oftentimes can teach us lessons. In the 1900s, gold was believed to be scarce, and farmers were going crazy, losing their property. Here's what was happening. Everything was in a gold standard. It wasn't until 1971 that Richard Nixon got us off the gold standard. So farmers would borrow money in gold certificates. So follow me on this, please. If I'm a farmer and I wanted to borrow money, I borrowed an X amount of gold certificates. I took it. It took time to plant. It took time for that to grow. It took time for that to be harvested. It took time to go to the market. And by the time I got the money and went to pay off the banks, each gold certificate had gone up so much because gold was perceived to be very scarce. And the farmer did all this work and still didn't have enough money to pay back the bank, and the banks were taking their land. It was terrible. And there was a big movement about it, populist movement that says, we got to get off the gold standard, it's got to be gold and silver. And a man wrote a book about it. They said, you got to do two things. We need more liquidity. We can't have these gold certificates. The gold has to trade freely. And we need to make it gold and silver because silver will make it more stable. And a man that you all know wrote a book. Why do I say you all know him? Because his name is Lyman Frank Boehm. And the book that he wrote is, who knows? Bingo, The Wizard of Oz. You see, up until now, you thought this was a children's story. It is not. I am going to give you the secret of what is truly the Wizard of Oz. Everything I am about to tell you, you can Google, you can research. It is 100% factual. But I'm about to give you the real story behind the Wizard of Oz, which nobody knows. Here we go. First of all, the name. The Wizard of Oz. What the heck is Oz? Bingo! Oz, who knew what the name of Oz was, but Oz had a meaning. O-Z, ounce, as in ounce of gold. Like the yellow brick road, which the yellow brick road, the bricks in there look like the bullion that you see right here in Fort Knox. Where did it lead to? What city? Who knows? Emerald City. Why is it the Emerald City? There's a reason, and where is it? It's a real place in the United States. Who knows where the Emerald City is? Not because the Seahawks wear that green. Good though, good. I like where you're going. But it is Washington, D.C. Why do we know for a fact it's Washington, D.C.? Here you go. The money that's in your pocket, the cash in your pocket. If you were to take the cash out in your pocket and look at the back, you know what you would see? Buildings like the Capitol building printed in emerald green. Also, you have the Lincoln Memorial in emerald green. You have the White House in emerald green. You have the Treasury in emerald green. Washington, D.C. was the Emerald City. Who did they go to see in the Emerald City? We're off to see the Wizard was a real person. Real person who was supposed to know everything, but when you pulled back the curtain, they didn't know too much. And he was the president, William McKinley. William McKinley didn't know that the answer was more liquidity, eliminate the central bank. He didn't know that go to silver instead of gold. So he kept things the same. Farmers kept losing their land. Now, how about our characters? Our characters were amazing. Let's start with Dorothy. You can look her up. Dorothy is a real person. I'm going to give you her real name, and you can verify it. Dorothy's real name is Leslie Kelsey. Take a wild guess what state she's from. Exactly, Kansas. She gave speeches throughout the country saying, we need to get off this gold standard. We need to go to a standard of gold and silver. We need to make it more liquidity. And she gave these speeches so tirelessly. Look it up. I kid you not. She earned a nickname. You know what her nickname was? The Kansas Tornado. Okay? Now, how about the Scarecrow? That's an easy one. That was the American farmer. People thought they weren't smart enough, but they were. They knew that we needed liquidity and we needed to go off gold, go to gold and silver. The Tin Man was the American worker. Initially said, I'm not going to get behind the cause. So people thought the American industrial worker was what? Heartless. And then they came around and they found their heart because they supported the cause. The most interesting one is this guy. So this guy is the most interesting of all, the Cowardly Lion. So the Cowardly Lion was William Jennings Bryan, who ran for president. And what he did was so many things. He wrote a piece that's still in the Smithsonian. He wrote it called The Cross of Gold, saying the United States is pinned to a cross of gold. And we need to come off it. We need to eliminate the central bank, and we need to get rid of the gold standard, go to gold and silver. And he started to get death threats. And he backed out of running for president. Hence the name, the Cowardly Lion. You see, his real nickname before that was this, the Lion of Nebraska. This is an actual newspaper clipping from 1898. The Lion of Nebraska was this guy, William Jennings Bryan, and he said, we need silver and we need liquidity, eliminate the central bank. But you see, you can't blame him for getting scared. Because previous to him, people who said the same thing, eliminate the central bank, let me show you what happened to them. The first guy was this guy. It was the National Bank Act in 1863 and 1864, meaning that we don't need a central bank. We could print our own money. Today, you have a central bank. Look at the back of the money that you have, Federal Reserve note. That interest has to be paid to the Federal Reserve. That's independent than the government. You know that, right? So his name was Abraham Lincoln. In 1865, he went into Ford's Theater and he didn't come out. He was the first president to be assassinated. The second president was 16 years later. Probably the most genius president we've ever had, James Garfield. Why is he the most genius president? He can write in English with his right hand, write in Latin at the same time with his left hand, and have a conversation with you. Come on. You ever try and type an email and somebody asks you a question? Will you please just give me a second here? Can you see? This guy was amazing. He said, eliminate the central bank. He got assassinated in 1881. In 1903, guess who came around? Our very own wizard. He was in Buffalo, New York, giving a speech saying, eliminate the central bank, and guess what happened? He was assassinated. And then the fourth president that wanted to eliminate the central bank wasn't that long ago, John F. Kennedy, and we know what happened to him. Is this a coincidence? I'll leave that to you. Let's get back to our story. How did Dorothy get home? The wizard said, you got to go out and get the broom from the Wicked Witch, and she did. And she killed the witch. How'd she kill the witch? That was the first one. How'd she kill the second witch? I'm melting. Water. Water. Watch the movie. The next time you watch the movie, listen carefully during that part. The wizard says, oh, Dorothy, how'd you get the broom? Well, I poured water on the witch. And the wizard says, oh, you liquidated her. Watch the movie. Liquidity is what was needed. Now, how did Dorothy get home? What'd she have to do? Click her heels 3 times, right? So, do you remember what she had to do? She had to click those heels. What color were the slippers? Who remembers? Ruby red slippers. So what does ruby red have to do with this story? Absolutely freaking nothing. Why? Because the movie was made in 1939 and they just came out with Technicolor and they said we wanted these things to pop. But if we remember, what was the moral of the story? In the book, which you can verify, you can pick up, you can Google it. In the book, The Wizard of Oz. What was the point? Liquidity and not gold, but? Well, you paying attention here? Not gold, but silver. The slippers in the real Wizard of Oz, in the book, are silver because that's how you get home. Now you, ladies and gentlemen, know the real story behind the Wizard of Oz. Isn't that amazing? Good stuff. Thank you, guys. Thank you. It's a good story. Listen, you folks have been such a pleasure and such a treat to spend time with today. And I have to tell you that the rest of your day is going to be amazing. My dear friend, Michael Mayer, is going to be chatting with you. And he is so dynamic and so wonderful to listen to. I love listening to him. He's great. So you're in for a big treat. You're also going to be hearing from some amazing speakers. You know, last night, I was with someone last night who was teaching me ways to improve how to market on Facebook that just kind of blew me away. He is going to share these things with you. And I think it's really valuable because today you need to do that, especially if you want to be that advisor. So stay tuned. You got a great, great day ahead of you. And by the way, God bless these guys, Don and Gino. You know, they have such a giant heart for you guys. They really, really do. I can't tell you how excited they were to do this for you guys today and do it out of their own pocket, to do this, you know, just from the goodness of their heart to want to just serve you guys better. Everything that they've always said to me is, we just want to do better and better and better and provide more value for you. That's why them and their team here have created all this stuff that I showed you today that you can utilize. So as I mentioned to you today, you're going to have some great speakers. Tristan's here. I've always enjoyed listening to him. You're going to be in for a day that's wonderful. But I want to tell you that your best opportunities are ahead of you. And I know this factually just because of history. You know, we always come up against hard times. We always do. And when we come up against those hard times, we're like, you know, why is this happening to me? And, you know, is it ever going to get better? What I will tell you is yes, you just have to have faith. Because, listen, we've gotten into hard times. Maybe it was a relationship, and it broke your heart. But then what you found out was, you know what? If it didn't happen, I would have never met this amazing person. Maybe it was work. Maybe it was a terrible thing that happened, and your job picture changed. And you're like, oh my gosh, this could be the worst thing that happens. And then all of a sudden you discover this wonderful opportunity. So your best times are ahead of you. And what I want to show you is this guy here, Charles Duell, he was head of the US Patent Office in 1899. And in 1899, you know what Mr. Duell said? We don't need the patent office anymore. Let's close it. And he said, why? He said, because, and I quote, everything that can be invented has already been invented. In 1899, let's close the US Patent Office. So clearly not the most foresight, okay? Now, just to kind of go down memory lane with you, what transpired since then? Well, in 1904, one of my favorite things happened. For me, anyway. At the St. Louis Fair, True story, a guy by the name of Ernest Hamwee. He had this young lady he was trying to romance. And he really was into her, and he was trying to impress her. So it was a hot day, and she goes, "Oh, Ernest, you know, I could really use an ice cream." Ernest, seeing an opportunity to make her happy, goes right over to the ice cream stand, and indeed it was a hot day, and they said, "Sorry, sir, we have plenty of ice cream, but we've been selling so much, we're out of cups." Seeing the look on her face of disappointment and knowing his chances for romance are diminishing, he was inspired. And he said, wait a minute. I remember this waffle stand. Goes to the waffle stand, gets a waffle, goes back, tells him to put ice cream in the waffle, rolls it up, gives it to the young lady, and in 1904, this is a true story, you can look it up, the ice cream cone was born. That's how it was invented. So the next time you have an ice cream, remember that it was inspired by love. Or lust, I'm not sure. But one of those, okay? So, but that's a true story. Team, we've all heard this. You tell me, the best thing since? Well, sliced bread was invented in 1928 after you wanted to close down the patent office, okay? And this is the original ad from the Clean Made Bread Company showing the invention in 1928 of sliced bread. Now, we all said the best thing since sliced bread, and you might have your choice. It might be your Android, your iPhone, who knows what it could be. But I'll tell you what I think we should consider at least. It happened in 1935. You see, I think we all owe a debt of gratitude to the quilted northern people, because listen to this. Hold on. Hold on a second. In 1935, you know what they came out with? Splinter-free toilet paper, okay? I can only imagine. Ladies and gentlemen, it certainly would not have been as comfortable to sit through a talk like this today, but you know what, team? I wanted to tell you how much I appreciate you and how much I thank you. God bless you all. I wish you all the best. I am so sorry I have to run out of here to catch a flight, but thank you so much. Really appreciate you guys. Thank you. Thank you very, very much. Appreciate you.